It's Out and About with Ted, and here I am on the 6th of May 2025. I'm at Easden village, and here was where a few miles down the road where a major mining disaster happened in 16th of January 1862. 204 miners lost their lives at Hartley Pit. Ages from 13, 15, 10-year-old, 55, 30s, 11-year-olds. There's a family here, Liddles, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 Liddles, one family. Gladstones, 4 on them. Berwick, 3 on them. Around this side you've got Oliver here, age 56, probably dad. Son 27, son 21, son 17, son 15. Hartley Pit disaster. "204 souls laid to rest here." So walk down through the churchyard, and I shall be telling you a bit of history about this prominent moment in history, because it changed a lot in the mining industry, this disaster. Which, like all disasters, things get done. But in them days, in 1862, 1800s, to save money, £900 in them days, I don't know what value it is today, but they only used to sink one shaft. So, one way in, one way out. And on that terrible morning, it happened, the day shift and the afternoon shift was swapping over down the pit when this tragic accident happened. And I'm just going to read a bit off this board. And what was happened was, across the beam there used to be a pump to pump water out, and a 40-ton beam which supported the pump that cleared the mine of seawater fractured whilst the coal cage lift was rising up the pit shaft. The beam dropped down the shaft, colliding with the cage. Of the 8 men in the cage, 5 died instantly, whilst 3 escaped to the surface. In a cruel twist of fate, the accident occurred during the shift changeover. The weight of the beam and the resulting debris trapped 199 men and boys, almost an entire generation of husbands and sons from the local community, alongside 43 pit ponies, which, like I said, mechanisation wanted them were ponies. Over 100 metres below the surface, no fresh air, dangerous gases building up, and most importantly, no way out. The collier's hope for life was blocked, despite violent attempts by the trapped colliers to clear a route out, and by people above ground to unblock the shaft and rescue the miners. Over 6 days, all died from toxic gas inhalation. On the 26th of January, funerals began. And they were all here at the parish of Easden, and the majority buried at St Albans Church, Edison, which is a beautiful church. And the funeral cortege is said to have been so long, with around 60,000 people attending the funerals, that at the first group of mourners arrived at the church, the last had not left Hartley village, around 4 miles away. And like I said, 10-year-olds. Were valiant attempts to save these men, and like I said, the beam collapsed and trapped the miners. It was said that when they found the miners, there was brothers laid in arms of brothers, fathers, with their sons in their arms. Horses laid there, just in stillness, so being suffocated. And this was due to the 7-1 shaft. In any case, after the disaster, it was from then on that all colliery owners had to have 2 shafts. So you got your upcast and your downcast shafts, so you got 2 means of escape. What a sad day. People just suffocated. Babies in arms, 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds. 6 days before we could get to them. And yet, after a disaster, which should have never happened in the first place if they'd had to, yeah, Hartley Pit disaster, terrible. Poor souls. Like I said though, it's a beautiful view from the church over the fields. If anybody gets a chance to go up this neck of woods, it's worth a visit. Just to pay your respects to the miners who worked in terrible conditions for not a yard. From the Roman reporter, Al Silly. All this is my view from out and about with Ted. I'm here at a place called Pontyland, just outside Newcastle, up that road. I've been told Alan Shearer lives, and a few at Newcastle football players. Very well good place. Pontyland. On it, Pontyland, I know, is the Ponty End at Barnsley, what they call the Ponty End. And we are looking at beautiful display of poppies. Flags flying for VE Day, salute that. And this is a Vickers Pelly Tower. It's where all the Vickers started in the 13th and 15th centuries here in Pontyland, a bit side of the Ponty River, and a very useful place it was. And this is where all wars between Scotland and England were fought. And like I say, Vickers Pelly, Onyx Pelliano were the famous Pelly from Brazil. And as we walk down here, we've got the Seven Stars pub here. Smell the money around here. Like I say, a lot of famous footballers live up here. But I prefer Ponty End in Barnsley, especially when we beat in Rotherham. Donkey Dave Stadium, up the Ponty. Can you hear the Ponty roar? Because you can't hear the Millers roar, because they're dead silent. And we've got little bars, cocktail bars, tandoori bar, sipping a loaf, Calf by Design, probably a big post office many years since. Got the Diamond Inn down there, and I've been told Shearer was in there, but you'll not see me looking for footballers. Not my game. Like I say, nice little town. We've also got a pub there dating from the 15th and 16th century called the Blackbird. Not going to take you over to see you, because I've got another church here. And like I say, we've got River Pont, another beautiful church here. And we've got a heritage here, we've got the Lest We Forget, and a nice little sculpture there. And the Church of St Mary, the Virgin, dates back to Norman times, but much of the building is 13th century. About time the spacious chancel was built in the north transept assumed to its present form. Despite the problems caused by the Scots, you all them Scots, the 14th century saw further rebuilding, including the south aisle cord and the great window at the east end. Rare fragments from 14th century glass can still be seen in the chancellor's window. The dramatic spear was added in 1994. And we've got a man here who Coates Green. There used to be a school here with this one. And it was Richard Coates, a merchant who lived at Oakton Grange. Built a school for 12 boys and 12 girls. The school became so overcrowded and the school was built at Coates Green, demolishing the old barn, joining buildings what stood here. And he was a merchant navy who built this for kids like to learn some kind of socialist, I would say, doing things like this. And we'll have a walk over to church. Say 13th century. Like I said, a nice sculpture here, family sculpture. Don't know what it's all about, but looks well. With no disasters around here. We did have a lot of pits around here one time. I've looked them up. We had Hendon Colliery, Dinnington Colliery, which we've got one in South Yorkshire at Sheffield, called Dinnington, and with the parish church of St Mary the Virgin. We'll just pop in and have a look, have a quick look round as we're roaming. Some of these stones dating back to 1819. So yeah, 1300, 13th century as we go in. What's wrong to it? What the lads all got killed, I think it was 1418. What the fault. Nice music. Yeah. Ought to call it Ted Stores, didn't you? Beautiful. So, dating back to the 13th century. Peaceful place. Like I say, worth a visit. And we'll just, I think I'll just have time to nip across to Blackbird. This is a story about the Blackbird across the road. There I go. Following around 1821s. Must be wealthy people to have headstones like this in the day. So obviously it were all scarce. And here across the road is a pub called the Blackbird. Like I say, a lot of pits around here, but the record Hendon Colliery were one of the safest pits. There were no disasters. I've looked in records and the biggest one was 2 got killed. So a very safe pit for its day. Here we are at the Blackbird. Just nearly got knocked down running across the road, but it doesn't matter. This is what we do. Nice pub here. I think I'll have to call in. But we'll just have a read at the story on the blackbird. Pontyland first appeared in the national history on the 13th century, when the feuds between the kings of England and Scotland were in full spate. The signing of the peace treaty between Henry III of England and Alexander of Scotland took place on the knoll of the marshes where the blackbird stands today. The castle on this site was destroyed in 1388 during the Scottish retreat from Newcastle following the famous raid by the Earl of Douglas, which ended at Otterburn. In 1597, Mark Harrington rebuilt the old castle as a manor house and lived the life of a country gentleman. He had 16 children, so that kept him busy. 2 of them were to get into trouble with the Roundheads as parish delinquents, had been at home there. Little else is known of him, although the manor remained in family for 200 years. Later it became a eating house, and the last century was licensed as a Blackbird Inn. The early publicans interested only in the manor allowed the ancient remains of the castle to rot away. However, in 1935, Robert D. Arch Limited called in experts for many months restoration work was carried out. They discovered an ancient tower, a beautiful Tudor fireplace, and many other ancient objects which can be seen today, but I can't tell you where they are. So I'm just going to pop in here. It's called Tunnel, and oh, it's closed. I'll not be popping in that one. But yep, just pop in. See if we can get a quick one in here. Just to work after all that. Here we are inside pub. Not bad, is it? Let's have a look down here. Oh, this is tunnel. Scope tunnel here.